In a small town, there lived an astronaut named Captain Johnson. He was known for his successful space missions and, more importantly, for his loyal companion Tom, a sleek and mischievous cat with a knack for chasing small creatures. Tom had been with Captain Johnson since the beginning of his career, and the two shared an unbreakable bond. Little did they know that their next adventure would take them beyond the boundaries of Earth itself. It was a cold and clear night, the kind that makes the stars twinkle like diamonds in the sky. Captain Johnson had just returned from a long mission and was looking forward to a peaceful night's sleep. As he walked into his cozy home, he noticed a peculiar sight. His pet mouse, Jerry, was scurrying across the living room floor. Tom's eyes widened and he immediately went into hunter mode. The chase was on, with Jerry skillfully avoiding Tom's every move. As the chaos unfolded, Captain Johnson received an urgent call from the space agency. A sudden mission had just come up, and he was needed in the launch pad immediately. Without thinking twice, he scooped up Tom, who was still chasing Jerry, and rushed towards the space center. The launch pad was a chaotic scene with engineers and technicians working tirelessly to prepare the rocket for liftoff. Captain Johnson, with Tom in tow, tried to focus on the mission briefing, but Tom's attention was fixated on Jerry, who had found a cozy spot near the rocket's engine. In the midst of the commotion, Tom made a daring leap to catch Jerry, and just as the countdown began, too, the feline and rodent found themselves inside the rocket. Before anyone could react, the door sealed shut. Panic ensued as engineers scrambled to abort the launch, but it was too late. The rocket engines roared to life, and the vessel ascended into the night sky. Inside the rocket, Tom and Jerry were in a state of shock. They looked at each other with wide eyes as the Earth shrank into the distance. Captain Johnson, watching from the control room, could hardly believe what had just transpired. As the rocket left Earth's atmosphere, Tom and Jerry struggled to come to terms with their predicament. The microgravity inside the spacecraft added an extra layer of complexity to their usual cat-and-mouse antics. Tom's attempts to catch Jerry were met with floating chaos, and the familiar laws of physics seemed to have abandoned them. Meanwhile, back on Earth, a catastrophic event was unfolding. Unbeknownst to Captain Johnson and his space agency, a massive asteroid was hurtling towards the planet. The scientists, preoccupied with the unexpected rocket launch, failed to detect the imminent threat until it was too late. The asteroid collided with Earth, causing widespread destruction and chaos. Tom and Jerry, floating in the void of space, were unaware of the cataclysmic events below, but as they looked out of the spacecraft's window, they saw the Earth engulfed in flames and debris. The realization hit them like a cosmic wave. Their home was gone, and they were left stranded in the vastness of space. But before all hell broke loose and panic ensued, Captain Johnson figured out about the asteroid, and without thinking, he decided to make a choice. It was either him or the planet, and he decided to save himself. So he stole a small shuttlecraft and flew to the rocket that Tom and Jerry were in. He left knowing what the choice that he had made, and he would have to live with it for the rest of his life, or however long that may be, or how short it may be. He managed to find his way to the rocket and made his way inside, and soon discovered that it was designed for a brief mission in orbit, and it had limited resources. Captain Johnson, devastated by the loss of his home planet, worked tirelessly to ration the remaining supplies. Tom and Jerry, despite their usual rivalry, now clung to each other for comfort in the face of an uncertain fate. Days turned into weeks, and the rocket continued its aimless journey through the cosmos. Captain Johnson, grappling with the isolation and grief, found solace in the company of his loyal companions. In the weightlessness of space, Tom and Jerry developed an uneasy truce, realizing that their survival depended on cooperation rather than conflict. As the rocket drifted further from the remains of Earth, Captain Johnson came across a distressing revelation. The onboard communication system had malfunctioned, cutting them off from any contact with Earth or any other space agencies. The trio were truly alone, adrift in the cosmic sea. The once playful antics between Tom and Jerry took on a somber tone as the reality of their situation set in. The void of space, with its infinite darkness, served as a constant reminder of their isolation. Captain Johnson, now facing the harsh truth, dedicated himself to finding a solution that would lead him back home, even with the choice that he had made. But it would be all in vain. As the damaged spacecraft floated through the cold void of space, Captain Johnson, Tom and Jerry realized with a sinking feeling that their trajectory would not lead them back to Earth, or whatever remained of it. Instead, they continued their journey into the endless expanse, with no destination in sight. They had no trajectory. Captain Johnson desperately tried to repair the spacecraft, but the damage was too severe. Their supplies dwindled, and the communication with Earth remained lost. The once hopeful trio now faced the grim reality of their situation, drifting further into the dark vastness of space, far from any known celestial body. Inside the confined space of the spacecraft, a haunting silence enveloped them. Tom and Jerry, who had learned to coexist in the face of adversity, now shared a somber understanding. Captain Johnson, haunted by the memories of Earth's destruction, stared out into the cosmic abyss, his thoughts consumed by the weight of their predicament. Days turned into weeks, and even more time passed, and moment, it passed into an agonizing blur as the trio floated through the emptiness. With each passing moment, the distance between them and any hope of salvation grew. The remains of Earth, a distant memory, visible only through the spacecraft's window, and it served as a haunting reminder of the irreversible catastrophe that had befallen their home. In the absence of any viable solutions, Captain Johnson, Tom, and Jerry could only watch in horror as they became specks in the cosmic void. The once vibrant blue planet now reduced to cosmic dust, and the three companions left adrift in the aftermath of a cataclysmic event. As the spacecraft continued its solitary journey, the sense of isolation intensified. The trio, bound together by the cruel twist of fate, clung to each other in the face of the unknown. Tom and Jerry, no longer engaged in their playful pursuits, huddled together for comfort in the weightlessness of space. Captain Johnson, despite his expertise in space exploration, found himself powerless against the unforgiving forces of the cosmos. The realization that they were mere spectators in the vast theater of the universe sank in. That this was it, that this is all it ever would be, all it would ever be until he would die. Stuck in a tiny vessel, cast adrift, carrying the remnants of a shattered world, the once bright stars that adorned the sky now seemed to mock them with their distant, unattainable brilliance. The trio's fate was sealed, forever condemned to drift through the infinite darkness with no destination.